Hey there, girlfriend. Ingafay here. Super excited to be with you. For those of you that don't know me, I am a confidence coach for female cash. Cash stands for coaches, authors, speakers, and home based business owners. And today I am super excited to share another coaching girlfriend with you, Michelle. Michelle is a health coach and expert personal trainer who happens to have a doctorate in physical therapy. And we are so excited to share her with you today. So, without further ado, here's my girlfriend, Michelle, and we'll see you inside. Hey, Michelle.
Hey, thanks for having me here.
Yes, I am so excited to be here with you today. And today we're going to talk about how to increase energy and motivation in our business. Before we get into that, I wanted you to tell us a little bit more about you, girl, who you are, what you do, and who you serve.
Yeah, so I am also a mom of four. And like you said, I'm my doctorate in physical therapy, and I do online personal training and health coaching for women who have put themselves on the back burner because that is what I used to do. And that is what a lot of people do, especially when you're running a business and you have all these other things going on. It gets real easy to push yourself and your health on the back burner because we don't always see that negative consequence of when we don't
No.
take care of ourselves. It
Right.
usually takes a while for that to show up. And then we have that wake up call like, hey, we need to do something to take care of ourselves. So I
Right.
love working with women, especially business women who are ready to start taking care of themselves and need ways to do that and keep it simple because they have all these other pieces going on in their life.
Yes, yes, yes. Girl, we are juggling everything. If it's not the house, it's the kids, and then we're a mom, a wife, a daughter, a sister. We got all of these different things going on. So you have said it definitely well. So I'm so excited to talk to you today about how to increase energy and motivation naturally so we can thrive in our business. So let me ask you this. How should we start when we want to increase our energy?
Yeah, great question. So, one thing to think about is making sure you're getting enough sleep and
Hmm.
you're not just using caffeine to get through the day. So, making sure you're getting that sleep, and that can really vary from person to person what you need. That can be 6 to 9 hours. So, knowing for yourself, if you're someone who needs more sleep, trying to make sure you're getting that and working on that sleep routine if you're having trouble falling asleep or anything like that. So I want to put that disclaimer out first because you're not going to get the energy you want if you are not sleeping enough. And
Yes.
then when you're ready, making sure that you're not overwhelming yourself and focusing on one thing at a time, one habit that you need to start with, because there's all these different pieces in our nutrition and our exercise and our movement and the food that we're putting into our mouth. So knowing what you need to do, because we're all eating, we're all moving differently. So that one thing we need to do right now is going to be different for everybody. So
Right.
making sure that you really narrow that down so you're not overwhelming yourself.
So I'm curious, when we come up with that one thing outside of sleep that we really need to do to increase our energy, how do you help us along the way? If we were to hire someone like you, how do you help?
Yeah, so I think a lot of times figuring out what that thing we need to work on is hard. And then also, there's going to be struggles because whatever we're doing that because that's our habit
Right.
and because that's what we're used to. So there's going to be struggles when you are trying to change, even if you're trying to change to do something better for yourself so that you can feel better. So having someone to talk out those struggles with, someone to support and encourage you makes a huge difference. So I have some clients that just do my on-demand personal training where I set up workouts for them and I check in with them through a message, but they don't get live coaching calls. Some
Mm,
people do great with that, but some people also do health coaching calls where we do one-to-ones talking like this.
okay.
And that's a huge support to them. And those people can typically move a little bit faster. Some people are great with just doing things on their own, but there's some people who really need the extra support, need to talk through things, and you're able to move through things faster when you have someone that knows other ideas and knows how to talk to you and knows how to encourage you. I mean, I think we all know that whenever we've gotten help, maybe from a counselor or a business coach or somebody else who knows more than us, we just get through it faster and easier.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So basically, you're helping them cut the learning curve, it sounds like.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah. And sort of knowing these different things, even simple things with food. You know, I'll be talking with a client and they're like, I've never thought of that before. And it's not anything mind blowing, but we just don't know anything.
Right.
And I also work with quite a few other health professionals. And I was just talking with someone recently and she's like, I feel like I should know this. You know, I'm a health professional. I talk to my patients, but I'm just not able to do it myself. Right. So there's a total difference between knowing something and also implementing something, because our behavior and our habit change is hard, and there's nothing wrong with getting help. Maybe even if you know some of the answers, is that we need that support and encouragement, because if we look at our environments around us, they're usually not super supportive. If we have the TV on, we're seeing these commercials for fast food. If we go to parties, we're seeing this. If we go out to eat with someone, they're encouraging us to get a dessert, a drink, or whatever it is. So a lot of times we don't have this environment set up for us to be healthy. So we need that extra support and encouragement.
Yes. So you said something that I say on a regular basis to my tribe, and is that it's we don't want to just know, we want to act. And that's essentially what you were just talking about when you were talking about how you had that health professional that you were working with, that they knew what to do, but they weren't doing it. And environment has so much to do with our desired outcome when it comes to our business and even with our life, because the people that we interact with, whether we want to believe it or not, they have a direct influence on what we end up doing based on what they're doing. Because like-minded folks, they congregate together and they focus together. That's why it's so important to be around big thinkers, because if you're around big thinkers that are doing big things, you're going to want to do big things as well. And I'm sure you would totally agree with that.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I think there was actually a study. It's like the 5 closest people around you, you're more likely to be like them. So, I mean, yeah, think of that in your business, your health, and these different areas of your life.
Exactly.
Your relationships. Are you around people who have good, healthy relationships?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's huge.
For sure. For sure. So what are some ways that your clients increase their energy? I know we kind of talked about the sleep piece, and we've also talked about the nutrition piece. What are some of the other ways that they have helped to enhance their energy?
I'll give you guys a few different ideas, and just remember at the beginning, it's going back to focusing on that one thing you need to. Right. But one is starting with a balanced meal. So we sort of know that if we eat a bunch of sugar, we have that sugar crash. And it's the same thing if you're eating like refined carbs, or carbs can also do that. So carbs aren't necessarily bad, but if you're sort of eating them by yourself, that can have that big sugar crash. So making sure you're getting some protein and some healthy fat when you're having a meal or snack. And that can help make a difference to balance your blood sugar. So we want our blood sugar to stay more stable and not have that rise and fall. So that protein and healthy fat can help with that. And just the idea of going back to eating more whole foods, less processed foods, our body's just going to function better. Our hormones are going to function better.
Right.
And then another thing is staying hydrated. So we sort of know this. And I mean, sometimes I'm not great either. But when you're not staying hydrated, you might feel more sluggish. You might have headaches. Your brain just won't function as well. So having a system where you have your water nearby you, where you're having sips, or maybe before each meal, you're drinking a cup or 2 of water. So that's not only going to help your metabolism, but it will also help your energy. And a good starting point is half your body weight in ounces. So if you're 150 pounds, that would be 75 ounces. And that's just a starting point. So there's no one answer. It depends how much you sweat, what season it is in, and just your personal body. So use that as a starting point to gauge, like, am I getting enough? And test it out. So maybe one day you drink a little more. How did you feel? Did it make a difference? What about those days when you didn't drink enough? How did you feel? And another piece is getting So there's movement and there's exercise. So movement is just moving your body. So that's going to the grocery store, cleaning your house, going for like a gentle walk. And our bodies are meant to move. So that's like that 10,000 step goal. So you don't necessarily have to start there, but usually from a metabolism standpoint too, 10,000 to 20,000 steps is a good point. But if you're down at 1,000 or 2,000 steps, just slowly increase it, maybe add 500 or 1,000 steps and start there. But if you get up and move your body, or you stretch, or you do a little back bend, that's going to sort of wake your body up naturally. It's not going to be the same as some big shot of caffeine. But if you start putting these pieces together, you will notice that difference when you get up and move. And the other piece is exercise. So exercise means your heart rate gets up, or you feel those muscles burning. And you can start with just 5 to 10 minutes of exercise. And it's usually that hump like, hey, I don't have the energy to exercise. But most people will say, after they have been doing it for a few weeks, once they exercise, they have more energy and they feel better. So keep that in mind if you're just having that block of even starting exercise. It's a little bit of a hump, but once you start it and you finish it, you most likely will feel better and you will have more energy from that.
Awesome. I like the way you broke down the difference between movement and exercise, because I've never heard anyone do that. And I think that's very important, because I think sometimes people have a tendency to think when they're cleaning their house that they're exercising. And that's very different. Cleaning the house and exercising are two different things. Granted, you are moving, which is great, but it's very, very different. But one thing I wanted to ask you about is you talked about making sure that we eat whole foods and not processed foods. And I think that's very imperative when it comes to us thriving in our business, because when we make the investment in ourselves, we're actually making the investment in our business, because it's going to help our creativity and our confidence level and all of that. But I wanted to ask you, what is a processed food and what is considered whole food, just to really reiterate that, to clarify what the difference is.
Great question, because amongst all the different diets out there, and I don't promote diets, but amongst all the good things from different diets is whole food. So that would be the one common thread amongst all the different things out there. And that's, like I said, because our hormones function better and all that. So a whole food is going to be something whole. So like an apple or something. This doesn't mean whole grain bread. So a whole grain bread is something that's been processed. So they have done something to it and changed it. And there's also, you want to think of processed food as a range from not processed to most processed. So there is a range. So you can even think of, if you have peanut butter that literally is just peanuts and salt, it has been processed some, but that's a very low processed food. So really checking those labels to see what's in them. If you don't know what it is, if there's a lot of ingredients, then it's probably more processed. So really simple one food type things is going to be more of that whole food. And just as I brought up with bread, I mean, most of our bread is processed. There's lots of different stuff in them. The way the wheat grain has been made over the years has been more processed. But so not saying that you can't have some of that, but really focusing on those least processed foods, because that is what will make you feel better and function better. I mean, I constantly hear from clients who are switching to more whole foods and their IBS gets better. They just start feeling better. They move better. The weight starts to come off. So it's really huge. And I think it's the way we're meant to eat. Am I perfect? No. But when you focus more on that, it will make a difference in your body.
Right. I guess it's like anything else. Anything that you really focus on and track, you're going to be more cognizant of. So for sure. Now, you have given us some great information on how to thrive naturally. And I think that's really the key. Naturally. That's why I wanted to bring up the whole food aspect of what you were saying. But I wanted to ask you, do you have any final thoughts that you would like to share that would really help us really understand better how to thrive naturally, so we can really grow our business the way we want to, with that energy and motivation that will get us there? to level up?
Yeah, probably one more thing to think of that can be an energy drainer for people is stress.
Yes.
So, I mean, just think of maybe when you've had an argument with someone or something's going on, like, I just feel so much tired. So, really figuring out ways to fill up your battery. And
Right.
that is different for everybody. So, someone might fill up their battery by going out with friends and getting their nails done. Or
Mm-hmm.
someone like me, I like to go for walks or do yoga. I'm more of an introvert. So, these things that really fill us up are different. And I personally, so I'm a very strong introvert, and I would get a little time to myself and think, oh, that should be enough. But
Right.
it wasn't. So knowing that what actually fills you up, how much of that you actually need,
Mm-hmm.
and doing that. And making sure that, if you're struggling, that you get help from a counselor, that you are working through things, because these feelings that we have or whatever's going on, some people will eat or do these other things, and those feelings are still there. So we might
Right.
temporarily feel better for a half an hour, but it doesn't go away. So if there's something in your life that's stressing you out, just taking that time to work through it so that
Yeah.
it isn't that energy drain on you.
Awesome. Awesome. It's great advice. Great advice. So before we go, I would love for you to share the freebie that you were telling me about earlier, that will assist us in this this naturally thriving in our business. So share that with us as well.
Yeah, so if you head to my website, at the top, you'll see a freebie tab. So just head there and you can find my metabolism webinar. So
Okay.
this sort of talks about that whole food that we are talking about and how that impacts your metabolism. And our metabolism is going to affect our energy and our motivation and how we're feeling. It also goes through the exercise piece and breaking down that movement versus exercise a little more. So I hope that you guys check that out. And if you guys have any questions, just send me a message.
Awesome. Yeah, so this link is here on the screen, but it will also be in the description if you haven't seen that yet. So you can check the description, and the link will be there where you can click on the webinar. You said you have a freebie. I guess you have a freebie tab on your
Yes.
website that they can click on and go right to it. As always, if you guys know of anyone you would want me to share with you, that will help you level up your business even more. I just thought Michele was awesome that she was going to tell us how to stay motivated and give us that energy, because really the energy is what sustains us and helps us reach for those higher goals throughout our business. So if you know of anybody you would want me to interview, by all means, let me know. And as always, thanks for watching, and bye for now.